Have you ever been on a web page and watched something update right before your eyes without the whole page having to reload? A new comment pops up or a like count goes up? Well, that's not magic, it's code. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the Document Object Model, or the DOM. It's the secret sauce that turns flat, boring web pages into the dynamic, interactive experiences we use every single day.
So here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll talk about why we even need this stuff. Then, we'll get into the blueprint itself, the DOM. After that, we'll stock up your developer toolkit, learn how to make things truly interactive, and then, the best part, we're going to build a little something together, from start to finish. All right, first up, let's set the stage a little. To really get why the DOM is so cool, you first have to understand the difference between a page that's just there and one that feels alive and actually responds to you. Okay, so look at the left. That's a static page. It's like a printed document. The browser loads it once, and that's it. What you see is what you get. But on the right, that's a dynamic page. This is more like a living application. It can change things, update a score, show a new message, you name it, all in real time without you ever hitting the refresh button.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question. How in the world do they pull that off? The answer is this really powerful concept that acts as a bridge between your HTML structure and your JavaScript code. And that bridge, my friends, is called the DOM.
So what is this DOM, really? The best way to think about it is as a live, interactive blueprint of your web page. As soon as the browser loads your HTML, it creates this map, this structured model that our code can read, navigate, and most importantly, change whenever we want.
And here's where it all clicks. The browser takes your plain old HTML file and transforms it into this document object model. The key word there is object. It turns every single HTML tag, your headings, your buttons, everything, into an object that JavaScript can actually talk to and control. This is what gives your code superpowers over the page.
And this is a perfect way to visualize how that blueprint is organized. It's literally like a tree. You've got the main HTML tag as the trunk. That trunk splits into two main branches, the head and the body, and then sprouting from those branches are all the leaves, your headings, your paragraphs, your buttons. Each one of these is called a node in the DOM tree.
All right, now for the fun part. We get the what and the why, so let's get our hands dirty with the how. It's time to fill up your developer toolkit with the essential commands you're going to use to actually start manipulating a web page.
So before you can change anything, you have to grab it first, right? These are your main tools for the job. You can grab one specific thing using its unique ID, think of it like a serial number, or you can grab a whole group of things that share the same class. But honestly, the real power players these days are Query Selector and Query Selector All, because they let you find stuff using the same selectors you already know from CSS. Now, what's really cool about Query Selector is how flexible it is. Look at this example. See that dot before BTN? That's a CSS class selector. This single line of code tells the browser, hey, go find the very first thing on this page that has the class BTN and save it in this variable for me. Now we've got it, and we're ready to mess with it. Okay, so you've grabbed your element. Now you can change what it says. Inner text is your safe bet. It just changes the text. Simple. Inner HTML is way more powerful. You can use it to drop in brand new HTML tags. But a quick word of warning, be really careful with inner HTML. If you put text from a user directly into it, you can open your site up to security risks. So, when in doubt, just stick with inner HTML. And get this, you're not just stuck editing things that are already there. You can create brand new elements completely from scratch. It's a simple three-step recipe. First, you use create element to kind of forge the element in memory. Second, you give it some content. And third, you find a home for it on the page and use append child to make it appear for the user. Just like that, you've made something new. Okay, we know how to find things, change things, and create things. Now let's add the real magic, the spark that makes a page feel truly interactive, responding to what the user is actually doing. So, how does our code know when to run? It listens for events. An event is basically just something that happens. Usually it's the user doing something. Clicking a button, hovering over an image, typing in a box, submitting a form, those are all events. And this is exactly how we tell our code to listen for those events. The addEventListener method is like you're telling the browser, hey, see this button? I want you to watch it. The second someone clicks on it, I need you to run all the code I've put inside this function right here.
This little command is the absolute cornerstone of making a web page feel interactive.
Now, what if you want to change how something looks? Well, you could change its style directly with JavaScript, like you see on the left. But the much cleaner, better way, the best practice, is to just add or remove a CSS class, like on the right. This keeps your styling in your CSS file where it belongs, and your JavaScript just worries about logic. And that toggle method, it's awesome. It adds the class if it isn't there and removes it if it is. Super handy.
All right, we have our tools, we know the main ideas. Let's put it all together now. We're going to walk through a complete working example from top to bottom so you can really see all these pieces click into place.
So here's our simple setup. On the left, some basic HTML. We've got a heading, a button, and a list with one item. And on the right, that's our JavaScript. You can see how right at the top we grab the elements we need to work with. Then we set up that add event listener to just wait for a click. All the action happens inside that function.
Okay, let's trace exactly what happens. It all starts with the user. They move their mouse over and click that Click Me button. That single click is the event. It's the trigger that tells the browser, okay, time to run that code you've been waiting for.
And boom, the very first line inside our function runs. It finds that heading element we saved and changes its text. Just like that, on the screen, the words DOM demo disappear and are instantly replaced with DOM manipulated. The page is changed, no reload needed.
Right after that, the next line runs, ClassList.toggle adds a class called Highlight to our heading. Now, we can't see the CSS file, but imagine that class makes the text bold, or turns it blue, or gives it a yellow background. The style of the page just changed dynamically because of our code.
And finally, for the grand finale, the last few lines of our script run. We create a brand new list item out of thin air, we give it some text, and then we add it to the bottom of our list on the page. And just like that, a new line saying New Item Added appears. All of that from just one single click.
So what's the big takeaway here? Well, you now understand the fundamental secret behind almost every modern interactive website. You have the core tools to select parts of a page, react to users, and change a page's content and style whenever you want. So the only real question left is, now that you have this power to bring a web page to life, what are you going to build first?